The president wants a guy who hates federal workers to be in charge of the Office of Special Counsel, the OSC. I don't know if you get just how crazy that is. The OSC exists to be a protector of federal worker rights. When it comes to whistleblower retaliation, when it comes to the Hatch Act, doing investigations, that's why it exists. We saw it during the scandal with the VA when veterans were dying because they were not getting their appointments in time. There was a whistleblower that blew that thing wide open. When it comes to the EPA citing a chemical safety risk, they try to take the individual that reported that and move her out of her job. The OSC was there for that. So if you have a person that has great contempt, that despises the federal workforce, and you put them in that leadership role, maybe these cases don't get seen. Maybe they get scooted to the side. Now, when I tell you this individual doesn't like federal workers, I don't know if you understand the extent that he doesn't like federal workers. He calls them parasites. He calls them bugs. The grand total of everything that's wrong with humanity is the federal worker. That's things that are coming out of his mouth with other crazy things. You know, he has neo-Nazis on his podcast, so he entertains that. He has white supremacists on his podcast, right? There's one thing that he said. This is outrageous. He said that slaves, people that came, like, if your ancestors were slaves, then you owe money, you owe reparations to the slave holders. So the family of the slave holder. It makes no sense. It's outrageous. It's shocking material. But for some reason, President Trump says this is the guy. Is it because of his legal background? Maybe his legal background is so impressive that, you turn a blind eye to the controversy. No, that's not it, because it was less than 2 years ago he passed the bar in New York State. And he hasn't really practiced law. He doesn't really have a legal background. Where somebody who's in charge of the OSC, typically, you would see a strong legal background. You don't see it with this guy. How can he be trusted to protect the federal worker rights? This is like having, what do they say, the fox as guarding the chicken house? Or having a lion as a shepherd to the sheep? It doesn't make any sense. In no reality did the Trump administration look at this and say, yeah, this is a great idea. The only reason that they would suggest such a thing is because of the hatred and contempt that's being held when it comes to the federal workforce. So why doesn't the president like the federal workforce? Well, we discussed this at length earlier, but we understand that Trump values loyalty among all other traits. Whether it's merit, competency, qualifications, all of that is secondary. The first thing is loyalty. And how can you command loyalty? You can do it by fear, right? If you're not loyal to me, I'll fire you. You're gone. I'll take away your livelihood. I'll take away your paycheck. Your family will be in a state of desperation. So you better be loyal to me. And if he can't fire you by snapping his fingers, because that's what we see in the private sector. Everybody falls in line in the private sector. You have your CEO, and then everybody toes the line, and if you don't, then you're gone. That's what they want replicated in the federal workforce. And you hear it from people that are not necessarily pro-Trump, but they're just saying there's no empathy, there's no sympathy, there's no compassionate to the federal employee who loses their job, because they're like, well, welcome to reality. This, my company, they fired 2/3 of everyone because we didn't meet profit quarter over quarter, so everyone's gone. It's just a part of reality, and you have to get used to it. Well, this is the public sector, and there are differences. Not everything is towards a profit. You're not trying to maximize shareholder value here. So because you cannot easily command that loyalty like you can in the private sector, what do? You make it easier to fire each and every person in the federal workforce. You do it by making them at will, creating Schedule G, creating fear, doing widespread layoffs, creating more uncertainty to squeeze people out. And that's part of the playbook. Now, when it comes to RIFs, the RIF plans are not revealed as of yet, but we did get some new information when it comes to some of the offices that were planning RIFs. So there's something like between 60 and 70 offices across 17 agencies. And I'm going to leave a link below so you can check out this list for yourself. But a couple of things I noticed right off the bat is, number one, I didn't see the Department of Defense there. Nowhere in there was the Department of Defense. I know a lot of people are concerned with DOD. A lot of individuals that watch this channel, they're always wondering what's happening with DOD. We didn't see DOD in there. We didn't see the VA in there. That's not much of a surprise, though, because the VA came out and said they were not doing these large RIFs. They were not going to happen, but they're still downgrading some positions within that agency. Also, within that list, I did not see the Department of Homeland Security. There is an Office of Homeland Security under USDA. They're targeted for RIFs. So you have the USDA in there, you have HUD, you have the Department of Treasury, and you have a lot of other agencies. So I would encourage you to go and click that link, scroll through there, see if your office is in there. Because even if you work in the agency, if your office is not listed, it could be an indicator that they're not planning RIFs. At least not right now. They could easily plan them into the future. But we didn't get exact names on who is going to get laid off or who might get laid off into the future. All the details when it concerns the RIF, a lot of that stuff is being kept under wraps. They don't want to reveal it. It's a big secret. And if you want to know exactly why it's a secret, why the judge cannot get their hand on the actual plans even after ordering the administration to produce those results, well, I broke it all down in this video right over here, so check that out. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.